Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating multi-year legal battle over timeshare transparency. We are going to trace a single consumer's grievance all the way up to a razor-thin legal compromise that absolutely tests the boundaries of corporate secrecy. Let's dive right in.
Let's kick things off with a very specific and honestly very substantial number. Back in 2004, a man named Norman Zwicky paid about $26,000 for a timeshare interest in the Premier Vacation Collection Owners Association. And for a while, everything seemed pretty normal. But then, a subsidiary of Diamond Resorts Corporation stepped in and acquired a substantial portion of the timeshare assets. Right after this corporate acquisition, Zwicky got a massive shock to his wallet. His annual assessments roughly tripled. Just imagine paying a set fee for years and suddenly new management takes over and your costs spike by 300%?
So you drop 26 grand on an investment, and suddenly your fees go through the roof. You'd want answers, right? Believing his membership interest had basically become worthless, Zwicky wanted to know exactly why those fees tripled so suddenly. He wanted to see exactly how the new assessments were being calculated, and quite frankly, he wanted to know if improper management practices were hiding in the financial books. Was the board acting reasonably and in good faith? Or was the new management just unfairly shifting costs onto individual owners to pad the parent company's profits? He wasn't just going to walk away. He wanted to see the receipts.
To force that transparency, he had to take legal action. After sending a letter asking for the records and getting stonewalled, Zwicky escalated things. In 2015, he filed a lawsuit against the association in the Maricopa County Superior Court, demanding judicial enforcement of his statutory right to inspect their books. The case ended up before Judge John R. Hanna Jr., who ultimately issued a final judgment. Now, to pull this off, Zwicky had to clear a really interesting legal hurdle. He had to prove he had a proper purpose. Under Arizona law, you can't just go digging through corporate records for the fun of it. The court defined this standard as a desire by an owner to get information that will help them protect their interest in the timeshare plan. And here is a fantastic piece of legal trivia for you. The appellate court noted that this specific requirement actually traces its roots all the way back to a 1904 territorial Supreme Court ruling on corporate stockholders. Ultimately, the court agreed that trying to figure out why his investment was tanking absolutely qualified as a proper purpose. So Zwicky gets a massive initial victory. The Superior Court granted summary judgment in his favor, and the judge didn't just tell the association to hand over a couple of high-level summaries. He ordered a highly specific, very revealing data dump. We're talking 5 years of annual financial reports, the highly sensitive indirect corporate cost spreadsheets, interval assignment agreements, management fees, and detailed occupancy and revenue reports. This is exactly the kind of deep, under-the-hood financial data that corporations will fight tooth and nail to protect.
Faced with a direct court order, the association did comply. But they didn't just hand the papers over casually. They produced more than 1,000 pages of documents, and they slapped a giant confidential stamp on all of them. They argued these documents contained highly sensitive personal information, personnel records, proprietary business data, and trade secrets. They basically said, fine, you can look at them, but they are completely locked down. And the court initially agreed, issuing a protective order that meant Zwicky could only share this info with his attorneys and financial experts. This sets up the ultimate tug-of-war for the rest of the case. On one side, after reviewing all these thousands of pages, Zwicky's lawyers felt they had a solid, good-faith basis to launch a massive federal class action lawsuit. So Zwicky asked the court to lift the protective order so he could quote the documents, file the suit, and notify other timeshare owners. On the flip side, the association was desperate to maintain absolute confidentiality to protect their proprietary data. Initially, the trial court actually sided with Zwicky again. They modified the protective order and even told the association they had to mail a notice to their other members about the lawsuit. Obviously, the association wasn't about to let their confidential financial data get aired out in a federal class action suit without a fight. So they immediately took it to a higher authority, the Arizona Court of Appeals, Division 1. They argued the lower court seriously abused its discretion by lifting that protective order without properly evaluating if those thousands of pages contained legitimate trade secrets. In early 2018, the appellate court stepped in to play referee, and they delivered a really nuanced balancing act. First, they affirmed Zwicky's absolute statutory right to inspect those records. He had a proper purpose, he deserved to see the math. But then they hit the brakes on his broader plans. They completely vacated the lower court's order that would have let him freely use those confidential documents for his new lawsuit, and they threw out the order forcing the association to mail a notice to all its members. So why block the notice?
Well, the law states an association only has to mail materials for an owner if it advances legitimate association business. The appellate judges took a very strict interpretation here. They looked at what Zwicky was trying to do and concluded that sending a court-ordered notice just to help a lawyer amass a group of plaintiffs for a federal class action lawsuit, that simply does not qualify as legitimate association business. It was a massive win for the association's privacy.
Just look at the timeline here. The sheer duration of this fight is staggering. What started as a single consumer asking for records back in 2015 stretched into summary judgment in 2016, and then the appeal dragged everything all the way into January of 2018. It wasn't until August of 2018 that everybody, probably completely exhausted from this legal ping-pong match, finally sat down with Judge Theodore Campagnolo and hammered out a final stipulated order.
And this final compromise from August 2018 is so fascinating because it walks such a razor-thin line. Here's exactly what they agreed to. Zwicky can use the knowledge he gained from those hidden records to formulate his new complaint. He's allowed to publicly allege that the management costs members paid were materially greater than what was disclosed. But he is strictly forbidden from quoting the confidential documents directly. He can't attach them to his lawsuit, and crucially, he cannot use specific numerical figures derived from them. Essentially, he can verbally describe his allegations, but he is legally barred from showing the actual math.
So here's a thought to leave you with, one that really captures the reality of modern corporate transparency. If a consumer fights for years and actually wins the legal right to uncover the truth and see the hidden financial records, but they're simultaneously legally gagged from sharing the exact math or quoting those documents to the public, who really won the war? It's a brilliant compromise on paper, but it perfectly highlights that inherent tricky tension between a consumer's right to know and a corporation's right to privacy. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this helped make sense of a complex legal balancing act, and I'll catch you on the next one.